Okay. Hello everyone. Greetings from International Longevity Center, India. I welcome you all in this national level webinar series organized by ILCI with the CSR support of Garda Chemicals Limited. Today we have with us Dr. Aarti Nagarkar, my professor and the first mentor in this field, and she is going to speak on prevention of falls in the older adults. Welcome, ma'am. I'm going to now introduce her and then we will begin the session. Nanda Kumar, please unmute yourself. Yeah. Okay, now we'll just introduce her and then we will begin the session. Dr. Aarti Nagarkar is the head of the Department of Interdisciplinary School of Health Sciences in Savitribai Phule Pune University. She has done PhD in medical anthropology. She has more than 20 years of teaching experience at postgraduate level. She is also a recognized supervisor to PhD students. Her areas of expertise lie in social epidemiology, qualitative data analysis, aging and disability, social gerontology, gender issues, health planning, and so on. Currently, she is the coordinator of an international ongoing Indo-Norway project on global health and disability, a lifespan perspective with Norwegian University of Science and Technology, Norway. She has extensively worked in the aging and disability domain and has developed Pune FAT, that is Pune Functional Ability Assessment Tool, which has been validated and tested in many different studies. She is a researcher and has around 50 publications in national and international recognized peer-reviewed journals. Frailty and disability, which leads to mortality among senior citizens, was one of her interest areas, and Dr. Nagarkar, along with a PhD student, is working on this to a great extent. I'm sure audience will benefit from this lecture. Ma'am, I request you to please start the session.
Thank you, Yashoda, for such a elaborate introduction. Thank you so much. I would like to share my slides. Can you see my slides?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So thank you once again. At the outset, I want to record that I want to thank International Longevity Center, especially Mrs. Raze and her team, to invite me to speak in this national webinar. All of us have experienced fall, or at least we know somebody who has experienced fall. And therefore, this topic, prevention of fall in older adults, is very, very important and very near to everybody's heart. And I'm really delighted to speak about this and share my knowledge and experience in this field. How many of you have ever wondered that there is something you can do to prevent fall? And many times people say that fall is an accident, it is just an event in life. But the answer is, this is just not a random event. Several factors contribute to fall, and therefore fall can be prevented. So today, we will try and understand what exactly is fall, what are the factors which contribute to fall or lead to fall, and how can we prevent fall. So these are the three broad sections under which I'm going to speak. Let's first understand what is a fall. So landing on a ground or some lower surface when you don't intend to be there, that is a fall. So if you stand up from a chair, lose your balance and fall back into the chair is also considered as a fall. Or if you come down from stairs, rolling down, that is also considered a fall. So fall can be at the same level or from an elevated level. So there are two different types of falls. Same level falls often remain unreported because those are minor slips and trips that we experience in our kitchen or in our living room. However, elevated falls which create injury or which has got deeper impact are often get reported. I just want to clarify over here that motor vehicle accidents are not considered a fall, or somebody pushes you, that is not considered as a fall. So we are talking about the fall which we experience because of several other factors, not the mechanical factors. what is the burden of fall in India? Our population ages and the number of fall and the cost associated with it also is increasing. So on an average, 5 million means 50 lakh people experience fall. This is just an estimate, which includes both minor falls as well as major falls. And of which 6.6%, that means roughly 3 lakhs people succumb to injuries or they experience fatal fall. More importantly, nearly 23 to 40% of injury related deaths in older people are attributed to falls. So they may not die because of their fall, but the fall may create chain of consequences which may lead to early mortality. Now, very interestingly, if you see statistics in Western countries, there also they experience higher fall rate, and surprisingly, the rate of fall is double among those who stay in nursing homes. So this is not common in community dwelling, but the double rate in nursing homes, and nearly 2/3 of nursing home residents fall each year. Now, on an average, 2.6 falls per person per year. That is what is reported in Western countries. Because Western countries have better record keeping, we can have better estimates from those countries. Unfortunately, in India and many other developing countries, such record keeping is not seen. Many falls get unreported. So what is more important here in this particular slide is that the incidence of fall is going to increase as the number of people who are going to be above 60 is increasing. It is estimated that in next 10 years, we will have approximately 49 million falls. That means 490 lakhs people falling, or fall episodes, not people, fall episodes are likely to be there. Now I want you all to just have a look at this slide. Please look into your screen and ask these questions to yourself. Have you had a fall in past year? Did you tell your primary caregiver or your provider about this fall? Were you hurt? Do you worry about falling? And do you feel unsteady when standing or walking? And the simple test is that if you have more number of yes to these questions, then your fall risk is more or is increasing or has increased. So this is a simple test. You can use it for yourself or for whoever, your grandparents or your spouse or your parents, and find out if they are at risk of fall. Now, what are the consequences of fall? Yashoda? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Got it. Now, there are physical consequences such as pain, bruises, cuts, wounds, fractures, dislocation, many times hemorrhages, and for which you will have to go to a hospital. There are also psychological consequences. In particular, falls significantly decrease the level of physical resources and thus increase the risk or level of frailty. And in turn, this increasing frailty reduces one's ability to continue with their social activities. And therefore, social and psychological, both consequences are faced by those who experience fall. I'm not saying that everybody will go through the same process. However, it may happen that those who experience fall may experience social isolation or loneliness because they develop adverse consequences of fall. And more importantly is economic consequence, that is hospitalization, rehabilitation. Physiotherapist, you know what is the cost of hospitalization and rehabilitation these days? All these expenses are out of pocket. And the cost of care, even after person is released from hospital, cost of care at home, that also matters a lot. And therefore, if you see the consequences on different aspects of life, it's better that we avoid falling or prevent fall. And that is the reason it is important to prevent fall. I just want to highlight one factor over here, and that is fear of falling, which I mentioned in my previous slide. Now, we had done a study in Pune, and we realized that when we asked people, are you afraid of falling? Many people said, no, I'm not afraid. I'm just more careful. मी जरा जास्ती काळजी घेतो. So a fear of falling is defined as a lasting concern about falling, and that may cause a person to stop doing activities which he or she were able to do. So I used to go out to buy groceries, but because I have experienced fall once, I have decided not to step out. And I restrict my activities only to household and stop going out. So why does a fear of falling matters to us? Well, it can stop a person from doing some of their favorite activities that are important for their mental and physical health. And that is the reason addressing fear of fall, which may appear very a trivial issue, but addressing that is also very important. And many make, or this may make person feel alone. It may make person feel alone if they get cut out from the social activities. And these inactivity in physical and social sense sets in, which results in muscle weakness, which again increase their fall risk, withdrawal from social life further, and which may push them into depression. And therefore, fear of fall, which I thought we must mention and talk about it and sensitize people. It's a simple question test which you can ask to your colleagues, peers within house and find out if they have. Now let's move on to next, and that is, apart from this fear of fall, there are several risk factors. The set that I'm showing you at the moment, these are called intrinsic risk factors. Those are mainly biological risk factors over which we have little control, but we will talk about them. There are issues related to medication which may contribute to fall. There are personal characteristics such as your age. If you are 80, you cannot change your age and go back to 60. It remains 80. And therefore, as you age, your chances of falling also increases. And there is another set which is called as extrinsic risk factor, that is environmental factors and behavioral factors, over which we have control, and we can definitely prevent fall if we identify hazards, environmental hazards or behavioral factors which contribute to prevent to fall. So let's have a look at some of these factors. But prior to that, I just want to highlight one point, and that is interconnection of risk factors. Now, fall is multifactorial. The diagram depicts interconnections between extrinsic and intrinsic fall factors. Few falls have a single cause, but majority falls are result of interaction between long-term or short-term predisposing factors in a personal environment. So the point over here is that individually you may have different sets of factors. Let's have a look at first set, and that is biological factors. Mainly medical conditions or physiological changes that may alter our body's balance and result in fall. I want to elaborate just few factors which we have observed very frequently when we are studying fall related activities in the community. Chronic illnesses and fall risk. Several chronic conditions have been identified to be associated with higher prevalence of fall. It is said that 4 in 5 older adults have at least one chronic health conditions. And what are those conditions? Diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, stroke, chronic pain, COPD, or urinary incontinence. I'll give you just 2-3 examples to elaborate my point. Now, diabetes, common complications such as peripheral neuropathy. Means what? That the nerves in the foot are become less sensitive. And therefore, when they are walking, their perception about depth of the floor or the unevenness of the floor changes. And there are chances that they may experience fall. Or because of diabetes, you must have heard from your providers that there is retinopathy, changes in your eye, because of which the sight may get affected, or if there is dim light, people may find it difficult to see things clearly, which of course increases their chance of falling. Now, arthritis, stroke, these are the conditions which affect muscle. So muscular strength, standing balance, weakness, which may lead to fall. I'll give you another example, like urinary incontinence, or it's overactive bladder, where senior citizens have to visit bathroom very frequently to void their bladder. And sometimes there is an urgency, or they have to wake up in the night, middle of the night, when they are in deep sleep, they suddenly wake up and start walking towards bathroom. That is the time when they are likely to experience changes which may lead to fall. So there are some medical conditions or physiological changes which may lead to fall. And that can be categorized as chronic diseases and fall risk. Now, how do we reduce this? This is something which has already set in. You already have diabetes. You already have been diagnosed with arthritis. So it's very difficult to reverse it, but you can definitely control it by proper treatment, following advice given to you by your physician. So that is one thing which we can definitely do if you are diagnosed with any kind of these diseases. Now, another set which I want to talk about is about muscle weakness. Now, you can say that muscle weakness and fall risk are directly correlated. And due to degenerative changes, people experience muscle weakness. You don't have to be diabetic or hypertensive to experience that. It can happen with the age or lack of activity or physical fitness. So decrease in muscle mass and muscle strength leads to inability of the muscle to generate adequate force to maintain balance. And so when persons walks or stands from a chair, they may experience changes in their gait, balance, there is sway, and they are likely to fall. So gait and balance impairment or changes in walking, such as slow walking, reduce arm swing, or shorter steps, increases their risk of fall. In this screen, you will find that I have given you a picture of what happens in Parkinson's. Parkinson's disease is a peculiar condition. It's a neurological condition where a person may experience trembling, and there are several other changes in physiology. Now, people or the research has shown that persons affected with Parkinson's disease experience frequent fall. And when they fall forward on their face, tondavar padtat, injuries are severe. And that also indicate that they have a freezing gait. They are just not, their muscles are not able to follow the instructions of their brain, and they do not move forward, and therefore they fall. While there are also chances that they may experience backward fall or sideway fall, which is because of postural instability. That is, they experience loss of balance, and when they fall on their head, there are injuries. However, the severity is slightly less as compared to when they fall on their face. So even the kind of injury you will get after fall is also been studied. Now, another important factor, another, I don't know how to on my video.
Ma'am, you
Yashoda,
can
I'm not
just
sure.
ma'am, you can just click on the start video option, which is next to mute and unmute.
But I'm in slideshow mode, Yashoda. Do I
Okay,
have to
okay.
go back and do it? How do I do it?
Yes, ma'am. You can just
Is it necessary? Are you?
no, ma'am. It's okay.
Oh,
It's fine.
okay.
It's fine. Please
Okay.
continue. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So, so there are two more important things which I thought hearing impairment also leads to fall, and therefore we must talk about it. So mild degree of hearing loss triples the risk of accidental fall. See, usually we are able to hear noise which is up to 60 decibel. When somebody whispers, it is 30 decibels. But if you're not able to hear voice which is even 70 or 80 decibel, that means you are experiencing hearing loss. And as one ages, hearing loss is also increases. Are you able to see the joke or the cartoon and what is written over there? Okay. If your answer is yes, then I need not talk about my next point, and that is visual impairment. Visual impairment is another factor which contributes to fall. So acuity, depth perception, all these changes may happen because of cataract or scar on cornea or diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, or age-generated or age-related macular degeneration. So there are several reasons why vision changes. But if it is not identified and corrected, it may lead to fall. And therefore, addressing hearing impairment and vision impairment is quite important. Uh, Now, the point that we are trying to make over here is that risk for fall increases as the number of risk factors also increase. So when we look at biological risk factors, whether it's presence of chronic conditions, if you have a diabetes, you also have mild hearing impairment. You also have cataract, but you are avoiding getting operated because of COVID condition or for any other reason. It's likely that you are likely to have a fall in near future. So it's better that we address these issues, especially the biological factors, and get at least some factors reduce or fall risk reduce. Now another important factor, and that is medication. Medication is a double-edged sword, I would say. If you do not take medicines, your chronic conditions may aggravate, and that may lead to fall. But sometimes, for example, you have depression. Depression is a risk factor for fall, and medicines on depression, that is some antidepressants, they also increases fall risk. And therefore, taking medication carefully, evaluating it periodically is very important. What research suggests is that if you are taking any sedative, that is medicines which help you to sleep, or if you are taking any medicine to reduce your anxiety, to reduce depression, to reduce any kind of a psychological issues that you may have temporarily or long term, then those medicines may increase your risk of falling. Why? Because those medicine works on your central nervous system. It may alter your sleep period or sleep duration or the way you used to sleep earlier and now. It may alter your or bring in changes in your perceptions, vision, and that may lead to fall. So when somebody is taking 2 or more of such psychotropic drugs, the risk for fall increases even further. Now, in general, even if it is not related to psychological or antidepressant or sedative, in general, taking more than 4 medication, in scientific terms, we refer it as a polypharmacy. So polypharmacy, that is usually defined as 4 or more medication, is considered as an risk factor for fall. So if you are on many medicines taking at the same time, they may interact and may increase fall. The exact mechanism is not really very clear. However, this is what has been seen in or reported in epidemiological studies. Or medication leading to hypotension or increased dizziness, these kind of medicine also increase your fall risk. Now, in terms of medication, as a common man, we do not understand much about medication. We we follow the regime which is as per or as prescribed to you by your doctor. However, just remember these 4 words. SAFE. The short form is SAFE, or acronym is SAFE. That is screen, assess, formulate, and educate. Now, this particular concept is devised for physicians or those who take care of geriatric people. However, I thought I must share with you that screen means what? Screen for medication that may increase your fall risk, such as antidepressant or sedative. That means you must be aware about kind of medicines you are taking. Assess. Next is assess. That is assess medication regime and try and follow non-pharmaceutical intervention. For example, some people may have slightly elevated blood pressure. So instead of 120/80, they may have 140. Instead of taking medicines immediately, some non-pharmaceutical interventions such as diet, control of salt, regular physical activity, or reducing intake of alcohol, that may reduce your blood pressure. So this is not for an individual, but I'm suggesting you can discuss this with your physician, your doctor, and see if medicines are necessary and can you really get it assessed and have non-pharmaceutical intervention for your disease. Third is formulate. That is adjust medication dose. So those who have diabetes must have experienced this, adjusting insulin dose, which is very necessary. Now it happens with diabetes because you experience low sugar levels immediately and there are consequences or complications associated with it, and therefore it gets reported. However, in many other conditions, the dose may not have immediate effect. I have seen people taking blood pressure or hypertension related medicines for years together without any evaluation, without going to doctor and checking whether they need higher dose or lower dose. It's quite likely they may get a low effective dose. So identifying appropriate dose for oneself is also very important. And lastly, educate both patient and caregiver. So you yourself you should know what kind of medicine are you taking, and how effective are they. Or in case there is a caregiver, the caregiver should be educated or given some knowledge or information about medication. So I suggest just remember these 4 alphabets: SAFE, SAFE, and that should help you to evaluate your medication. But this is only after consulting your physician, because each individual's problems or their physiology is different, and therefore it's better that you talk to your doctor. Now, we are now moving on to set of problems where we are likely to have absolutely no control, and that is age and gender. You cannot go back to your 20s or 30s. And it is shown by the studies that as you age, the chance of falling also increases. And the statistic says that at the age of 65, 1 out of 3 people fall. At the age at 70, people are likely to fall every 2 years. And when they reach age 80 plus, they fall every year. This is based on studies outside India. However, very soon, as our longevity is increasing, we will also experience similar kind of pattern. What is also observed is that women are likely to have more falls than men. This is something very interesting, and we do not know why. But women are likely to have more fall, and they are less likely to report these falls. So the burden of fall are likely to be more on women. One of the factors which contributes to this is osteoporosis, because osteoporosis is usually seen in women, more in women, and therefore bone related problems and fall are very common in women. Now let's move on to environmental factors. I have listed 9 factors which can be easily avoided. And if you read and try and look for these hazards in your everyday life, you are likely to avoid fall quite successfully. For example, slippery or wet floor. Look for signs. You know when your mates come to clean your house, so you can be careful during that time. Find an activity where you will be seated at one place and move only when the floor is dry. Inadequate lighting or glare. In this picture, you see that the same passage with dim light and bright light. And this is what is likely to happen when people rush to their bathrooms in the night because dim light is on. Passage is familiar. However, due to bad lighting, people are likely to miss certain suppose a toy is lying over there, or there is some wire, or a small carpet is kept over there. You are likely to slip from that and experience fall. So switching on bright light, even in emergency or urgency, is very, very important to avoid fall. Insecure handrails. So the place where you grab to get steadiness, if that is not proper, then you are likely to experience fall. Clutter or toys in walkway. Many times there are grandchildren. In India, we have extended family. So grandchildren with their books, toys spread everywhere. That is the point where elderly are likely to experience fall. Unstable or broken furniture, that may lead to fall. Unsafe stairways or passage. So climbing up or down the stairs where grills are not present, nothing to hold on to, that may lead to fall. Or unstable wheels of walker or cane is not properly in a proper condition. So broken assistive devices may lead to fall. Irregular floor surface. Usually when you are walking outside, our roads are dark, footpaths are not proper, or the pavement blocks which are there on the roads often come out, right? Some 1 or 2 are missing. So these kind of things may lead to, or not having proper roads, that also lead to fall. So environmental hazards or environmental factors which leads to fall can be easily avoided. What about behavioral risk factors? Behavioral risk factors of fall are also totally, you can control, you can change and try and avoid. We all have different habits and we all have different risk factors present. Some we can change and some we cannot. We are all challenged to improve the risk factors we can change. So we can become physically active, reduce anxiety, reduce hurrying in doing activities, or change ill-fitting footwear. That is also another important factor. Many people use slippers and they move around with slippers, and slippers are likely to give you more fall than shoes or a chappal, which has better grip on the floor. So take care of your footwear. Please check your footwear, especially the sole of your footwear. That is also a risk for fall. Reduce use of slippers and increase use of shoes or footwear with good grip and sole. We can deal with fear of falling through education, especially using evidence-based fall prevention program that we will talk about little later. And we can increase our social activity. We can exercise together and improve weak muscles. And we can learn how to use assistive devices that are fit to us and use them in a right way so that we can avoid accidents related to that. So education or becoming more aware about our fall is what is important at this point. So after understanding all this, it's time for change. And any time is good time for change. You need not say I'm 70, I don't want to change, or I'm 80, there is no point in changing. No, there is change and there is possibility of change. And because falls are common and they are costly and they are preventable, we must try and prevent fall. You can get more information about fall from this particular website, CDC. I thought I'll just put this up for your information. Now let's move on to the next interesting part, and that is prevention of fall. So effective intervention can prevent falls in older adults. Exercise, home modification, environmental modifications, use of assistive devices, and review of medication. These can be considered as 5 points for intervention or for prevention of fall. Let's have a look at each one. Now, exercises for fall prevention. Exercise can help an individual with balance and coordination. It helps the body to become stronger. If a fall does occur, the chance of an injury is less likely to happen if person is physically fit. So practicing getting in and out of a chair is a good way to strengthen your muscles, as these muscles are essential to increase your mobility and improving balance. So most of the time when we are sitting in a chair, just get up from that chair 5 times and sit down 5 times. That will also help you to exercise your muscles. And exercise increases strength, endurance, quality of life, and more importantly, independence. This is what is required in the old age. Being independent gives a sense of pride, self-esteem, and that is very important. And that also contributes to reduction in fall rate. That's really very important point. Now, I thought I'll just show you some animation pictures over here. These are certain exercises which can be done for balance, for improving your balance. You can see in these 3 pictures, I've taken these pictures from Johns Hopkins site. They have a very good website where they have described the fall prevention program and the kind of exercises that they follow. So getting control over balance or getting stability, that is balance training, is very important, and it involves doing exercises that strengthen the muscles that help keep you upright, including your legs and your entire body. And these kinds of exercises can improve stability and help prevent falls. There is another set of exercises which I want to talk about, that is strengthening exercises related to shoulder, arms. You can sit down and do, you can stand and do, you can do push-ups on wall, and you can do it at your own pace, slowly and steadily and gradually. This also helps in strengthening. There are exercises related to lower limb. Because we are talking about walking, that is gait, and balance, that is stability, it's good that you have strong muscles in your legs. And therefore, while you are sitting, watching television, watching the serials that you like, you can still do these exercises like leg lift, hip flexion, mini squats, just standing over there, hip extension or abduction. So lower limb exercises help in strengthening your muscles in lower part of the body. Apart from these exercises, which you can do while you are at home, you can also practice yoga and meditation. As you all know, I need not tell you this, but yoga is a mind and body practice. It involves both mind and body, and therefore it improves physical as well as mental health. The physical postures brings flexibility. And the research suggests that yoga practice contributes to improvement in ability to rise from a chair, increase step length, and reduced fear of falling. And studies suggest that at least 1 hour of yoga 3 times a week and minimum for 3 months can definitely reduce your fall risk. Of course, I suggest you take yoga experts' advice and then find out postures which are good to you, considering all other medical conditions you may have. Now, apart from what we usually do, I know that many senior citizens, they are active, they come together and they do exercises together. But many times, if you join some program, so when you are doing a group activity or group exercises, you are likely to experience better health, better physical and mental health. And age is no bar. In this picture, you see even a 90-year-old grandmother has joined a program. So Tai Chi, Otago exercises like Hasya Club and those kind of group exercise activities contribute in some way or the other to reduce fall risk. So physical activity, exercises is one part. Secondly, your home modification. Home modification is not costly, but it's very, very effective. Installing grab bars in bathrooms and toilets. Have a toilet seat elevated if you have problem with your legs, especially knees and thighs. Ensure the passages are well lit. You can use high power but LED bulbs so that you can reduce on your energy cost, but still that's very important. Mark first and last step with the tape or some paint if you have staircase inside your home. Use of assistive devices is also very important and essential. Many we have seen grandmothers and fathers, they are not ready to use cane or they avoid using walker even if it is necessary. But using those kind of things or assistive devices will reduce your chances of falling. These days you have anti-skid socks. You can buy a pair of socks. That will be an investment, a good investment. There are, of course, some devices which are available, sensor-based devices, which may alert others if you fall. So these kind of investments are very important. Then environmental modifications. Environmental modifications, I want you to have a look at this picture. And can you identify hazards that are seen in these pictures? Because of lack of time, I take you to this. I'll show you the answer. What you see is that there is a staircase without handrail, boxes kept, carpet on the floor, which is also a point of risk. So removing carpets, removing clutter, removing unnecessary furniture. If there are loose wires hanging here and there, try and see they are done properly so that you are not likely to trip and fall. Take care of your medicines. They are scattered all over. Mixed chances that you may take medicine wrongly or wrong dose. which may contribute to fall. Of course, at the last point I want to make over here is your personal habits. Smoking and alcohol both have risk of ill health and fall. Therefore, I need not tell you, but alcohol consumption often leads to fall or increases fall risk in many people. Now, as we come to the last 2 slides of my presentation, I want to tell you what to do in case you fall. So how to get up from a fall. So I'm trying to tell those who are likely to experience minor fall. So when you experience a fall and if nobody is there, then please locate a sturdy piece of furniture, roll over into your side, push your body towards that piece of furniture or crawl towards that piece of furniture with your hands, and then put your hands on the chair or the piece of furniture and slowly rise from that. That will help you to get in a proper position. So if once you are seated, you can think properly. So regaining your composure after fall is very, very important. So check for any injury or serious medical condition. If people are around, yell for them, call them. If not, use your telephone. That is also very important. So reaching out for help after fall is very, very important. That's what we are trying to emphasize over here. So we can definitely come out of this by following certain easy steps. So the take-home message from today's talk is that improving fall safety or improving conditions around you to reduce fall, and that is called or referred as fall safety. First, please remember these 4 things. Stay active, watch for warning signs, especially unsteadiness while walking, if you experience any vision problem or medication side effects. It's very important that you identify problems yourself and act on it. Remove risk at home. I've talked about hazards that are likely to present in your bathroom, kitchen, stairs, those kind of places, and report fall. Because if fall is not reported, it puts additional burden. In the sense, it increases your chance of falling again and at the same time not getting enough help because you have not reported the fall. So stay, watch, remove hazards or risk and report fall. This is what is the take-home message in today's lecture. So with this, I thank you all for your patient listening and I wish you all the best, and I really hope that you take care of yourself by removing these hazards at home.
Great. Thank you, Aarti ma'am. It was really a wonderful presentation. And thank you so much for, because, it was informative as well as it was really clear with the pictures and animations. Thank you again. So now the forum is open for the questions. Please raise your hand or let me know that you have a question. Yes. Phule sir.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Aarti, good evening. Nice to see you on the webinar.
Thank you.
How are you? मला असं वाटतं की more emphasis should be given on prevention of fall. That is architectural design of the house, lighting and illumination in the house, airiness, and their assisted living apparatuses. I think that should be the emphasis on this fall prevention. Am I right? Please throw some light on this.
Okay, absolutely. That's what I talked in some of my slides, that use of assistive devices, whether it is a cane or a walker, whatever it is, that should be continued and without any kind of a embarrassment. We have often seen that they use cane while they are inside home. The moment they want to step out, they will keep cane right there behind the door, and that is likely to increase their chance of fall when they go out, and the hazards are present even outside. And as you rightly said, that dim lighting, which is such a minor point and which we can improve very easily by just changing illumination, and those are the identification of hazard and then correcting hazard. Both things are very important over here. Identification is the problem. Changing is not a problem. So an awareness about these hazards will definitely help. They will be able to make changes. If we don't tell what exactly is wrong, people will not know how to change to a right way of things.
At the same time, I personally feel that senior citizens otherwise also should carry a identity card ज्यावर लिहिलेलं असावं की in case of accident किंवा पडले तर यांना या नंबरवर कॉन्टॅक्ट करा. हे इनफॅक्ट वी आर टेलिंग इन ईच अँड एव्हरी सेमिनार्स.
Yeah.
परंतु मला वाटतं फॉलच्या बाबतीत देखील if you suggest to the audience this point, I think that will be also helpful. Do you feel so?
It doesn't contribute to prevention of fall as such.
Yes.
But that may be an additional point which will help in getting the right type of help or appropriate help if required.
Thank you, Aarti. So nice of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
एक प्रश्न.
Yes. Yes, sir. Avinash, sir.
हा, मी अविनाश बोलतोय. खूप छोटे छोटे मुद्दे खरं म्हणजे आहेत आणि आपण चांगल्या पद्धतीने ते कव्हर केले. जसं कार्पेटला घडी पडून आपण त्याच्यामध्ये अडकू शकतो किंवा कॅबिनेटची दारं असतात ती उघडी राहिली तर डोळ्याला किंवा आणखी मार लावून मग एकदम पडू शकतो. वेट सरफेस आणि अतिशय चांगले मुद्दे कव्हर केले. आय हॅड अ चान्स टू अटेंड वन कॉन्फरन्स ॲट ILC. आय ओनली हॅड कंडक्टेड इट. आणि त्याही ह्याच्यामध्ये एक फॉलमध्ये ह्याच्यातले बरेचसे मुद्दे कव्हर केले. आपण खूप चांगल्या पद्धतीने सगळे मुद्दे कव्हर केलेत आणि आय लाईक दी प्रेझेंटेशन. येस,
थँक्यू.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Amrita ma'am, do you have a question? Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Amrita ma'am. Sorry.
Hi,
Yes, ma'am.
Hello,
Very
Bakaman.
nice to see you, my dear.
Yes.
Good to see you. I was
She's
just
my
wondering,
professor. Oh.
yeah, you mentioned it was a very enlightening presentation, I must say. And I was wondering about the alarm system.
Yeah.
You mentioned about the alarm, the person who has a
Correct.
tendency to fall.
Yes.
What kind of alarm is that? And
Okay.
availability in India? Because I'm asking for someone in mind.
Okay.
If you are-
Yes. As far as I know, this alarm system, which is an sensor-based system, which is a small device which can be used as a pendant or as a gadget which you can just put in your pocket, or it is kept near a bed. So if person wanders away from that particular device or doesn't respond or doesn't report to that device, the alarm is likely to buzz, or it will give a signal to whoever it is set to. So it may be to your daughter or a son or whoever is caretaker of yours. As far as I know, maybe Anjali madam would be able to tell us more, that in Athashri they had tried something like that, a pendant to report fall.
Yes.
Report in the sense, does it buzz if a person has fall by
No,
itself?
the person has to press it so that it communicates.
Oh, that is like
Nowadays, Aarti, there have
Yeah.
been quite a few developments since then, and but because of the cost, I think it's not coming out on a
Yes.
larger scale. Because we had a couple of young, innovators coming up, but the costs were a little exorbitant, and I'm not sure why senior citizens don't want to invest in such very needy and useful devices. But there have been innovators coming up with more and more
Yes.
much more better kind of
Yeah.
devices, but
Right.
I think the cost is one of the impeding factors here.
Anjali, are you aware of something in which patient is unable to press the bell? Any such kind of alarm?
Yes,
Which is
yes, that is
automatic
also.
trigger to
That is
inform
also
the
available.
family, some member who is close by.
Yes,
If they are
yes,
sharing the
that's also
device.
available.
Yes, when they have a fall, there is some
Yeah.
sensor that can track that the person is not in an upright
Yeah.
position or has fallen. There have been these innovators, but again, as I said, they really are very costly. And unfortunately, as I said, we try to promote. We, as an organization, we cannot promote, but we try to spread awareness. But people found things even for 10,000 and so on. It was like, oh, it's a little too costly.
Actually,
That yes.
iPhone has something where you can track the other person with whom you are sharing the phone details. But then it cannot be kept on the whole day or night.
And in fact, madam, what I feel, we should have a device which will tell us that you are likely to fall. So before
That
fall
alert will be the
happens.
best thing. Of
Yes.
course.
So one of my PhD students is already working on that. We have not reached the prototype, but we have done all the evidence is created. So we have all the values, which can be converted into a device. So, but in a university we are so academic, we don't go into business and.
Remember, I have taught all this, and Aarti, falls in my mother-in-law after I got married triggered me into aging studies. Can you imagine? She used to
Yes,
fall a
many
lot,
times.
and she
Yes.
would bleed, and she would
Okay.
bleed, and used to be hypertensive. She was almost bedridden. But the neighboring doctor told me every time I would call him, we were in Sugar Mills, and he would say, "Ma'am, if she is bleeding, it is okay. You don't panic. Just sit down at one place. Then relax, make her relax." I used to be at that time I was pregnant. These incidents I can never forget, and that triggered me into aging studies.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Any more questions?
Hello.
Balara sir, please.
Yeah, whether that falls includes accidents also, because I have not
Yeah.
heard.
So, sir, I can clarify this once again. Yes. So, when we talk about fall prevention, we are talking about falls which may happen accidentally, but not because of motor vehicle. Or if somebody tries to push you, that is not considered as a fall, because that is something which exists outside and you have not invited that. But a mechanical fall or because of motor vehicle or scooter or bicycle, those falls are not considered or not counted as fall when we do fall study.
My point is that additional in our Spartex tiles are there na, that also because of show business, that
Right.
at
Yes.
मंदिर में ही स्पार्टेक्स चाहिए, घर में तो स्लिप होता है, ऐसा मेरा ऑब्जर्वेशन है.
Right.
Yeah, I need to ask one more thing to Aarti.
Yes.
And this question, if you remember, there is a type of fall, which in fact I told my mother-in-law used to have, that they tend to fall and they just keep lying without losing consciousness, and there is no mobility for some time. This is the kind of fall which I did not come across much research work on that. Falls which make you immobile temporarily, and you are you are conscious and you can speak also. Have you come across this? Is, I would say, innocent fall without any reason. The legs just fold and they just tend to fall, and they are lying still for quite some time.
Right. Yes, we have seen this without any reason, apparently, I would say, because we do not go into the details of changes in physiology or medical reasons, but apparently, without any reason, people are likely to fall.
Yes, this is 30%.
Yeah. So, and therefore, we try and avoid as many as falls by avoiding or removing environmental hazards or home related hazards. That's what is important.
But no new research has come up in this. This
No,
kind of falls. These are, they have a word, cryptogenic attacks, cryptogenic falls, idiotic falls, where there is no reason, valid reason around you.
Right.
Okay.
What because of university backup, we will be able to do it very soon.
But you should please
Yes,
do
ma'am.
that further, that
Yes.
testing the muscle strength of your legs.
Yes,
It was
yes,
really
we will. Yeah, we will.
appreciated her efforts very much.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
ma'am.
your nice words, and I'll communicate your message to Snehal. I'm sure she's listening.
Yeah,
She's
she is there in the meeting. Yes.
I saw her name. I saw her name.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Bhanu.
In fact, Yashoda, you might tell about ILCS program, the physiotherapy program, during which I think Snehal was part of that.
Yeah, she was a part of it.
And to
Right.
which
Yeah,
Dr.
initially.
Himadri has referred. You can just inform them.
Yes. So ILC is doing, I actually was doing because of the corona, it is on hold, as Dr. Nagarkar also said the same thing. So with the renowned physiotherapists, we were doing this program among senior citizens from different parts of Pune. And they were under this program. So the physiotherapists were checking them, and then they were taken the follow-up in next like visits. So repeated follow-up, and the physiotherapists were suggesting few really muscle strengthening exercises. And then we got a feedback from senior citizens that okay, they were like, okay, the knees paining, it's fine, hand is paining, it's okay because of the age. But then when they actually went to the physiotherapist, and when they found out what was the exact with simple exercises, they were able to find out what exactly was happening. And it was really amazing to see that even small exercises can play a part, and then
Yeah.
it reduces the risk of falls, as madam has already said. So even we are hoping to start visiting them again and
Yeah.
conduct the program.
Yes,
So,
everybody
ma'am,
is waiting.
yeah, ma'am, I just want to mention one thing that while I was doing research in last year, so we found out that there is this new secu-hip kind of thing where there are hip pads or hip bands you can
right.
wear, and
Yes.
so when once you fall, then it opens up and pushes you and it gives you good grip. So that was it actually amazing, but I'm not very sure about the application in India, at least with the senior citizens not wearing sari, and it is really awkward to even wear such things. But yeah, these things are coming, I think.
Right. So feasibility of using product is also
Right.
very important. You may
Right.
have many assistive devices, but giving the condition, the Indian condition, our dressing pattern, even
Right.
the social norms and conditions,
Yes,
they
yes,
also play a
definitely.
very vital role.
Right, ma'am. Thank you. Anjali, ma'am, I request you to please conclude the program.
Yeah, I just had one sort of doubt in my mind, Aarti.
Yes.
How does hearing impairment, I might have missed out, how does hearing impairment triple the risk of falling? Because that is a doubt in my mind. If you
Right.
can just talk
So,
before I go ahead.
so the research has suggested, or they have shown, I did not suggest it, they have shown that if the hearing loss is greater and if it is not corrected, the vestibular changes that may happen, that
Okay.
may lead to losing balance.
Mhm.
And loss of balance often leads to experience of fall. So
Yeah.
correcting hearing is
Okay.
a way of reducing fall associated with this.
Yeah, so the fluid that maintains the
Yes,
balance,
yes.
that, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I thought as much, but I thought possibly there's something else. Anyway, if no one has any other questions, I think Aarti, superb presentation. We had quite a few of the participants not here in the webinar itself, but quite a many watching on YouTube. I'm not sure if they had any questions, but excellent presentation. We've got a lot of feedback as well about it. You went into such details, and being a teacher, a professor, a lecturer, you have that ability to communicate things with such clarity that it really helps us understand, create awareness on these various very important issues. And as Yashoda has mentioned, we really working on a very nice program of physiotherapy with the Deccan Education Society's college in Pune, Physiotherapy College. And we had wonderful sessions going on with many organizations, senior citizens organizations, of which you had also sent in a few of yours too. But unfortunately, due to Corona, this very important and much needed exercise has been put on hold since we cannot really meet senior citizens at this point of time.
Yes.
But we hope to go ahead and do it. I want to thank you, Aarti, profusely for such an excellent presentation. Really loved it. And thank you for sparing your valuable time. We look forward to having you again on some
Sure,
other
sure.
topic in the future. And I thank our CSR supporters, Khalda Chemicals. I also have a small announcement. We'll be having one of the legendary gerontologists coming in to speak next Saturday on the 7th, and that is Dr. Indra Jaiprakash. Very difficult to get her, but she has accepted our request, so it's an honor. We'll also be having Dr. Amruta Baga as one of our webinar experts soon. So we look forward to having all of you. And if you can share with Yashoda, Sushant, or on our email ID, the email IDs of all you participants, we would be able to communicate our programs to you so that you can join in and learn a lot more. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. My pleasure. I enjoyed being here, and we would continue to work together. And Dr. Anjali Raje, Yashoda, Meghana, thank you so much. And thanks to Baga Madam for your encouraging. So
Thank you.
she is the one who started aging
So
research in
glad.
Pune University.
We're looking forward to having her as a webinar
Yes.
I am
expert.
also looking forward.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
Thank you so
Bye.
much for
Thank-
joining. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good day.
Thank you. Bye.
You also have a nice day. Thank you.
Bye, Dr. Ma'am.